Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to attend ICCE Taiwan 2021. My name is Pradini Puspitaning Ayu. I am from Graduate School of Natural Science and Technology, Okayama University. Today, I'd like to present our research entitled Evaluations of Fingerprint-based Indoor Positioning System using IEEE 802.15.4. Before we begin, here is the outline of my presentation. Let's start with the background and contribution. What are the importance of indoor positioning? In many daily life scenarios, there are various reasons why we need it both for tracking and navigations. For instance, in a hospital, how medical staffs can track patients with special care. Or can we monitor our elderly parents who live on their own? Then we can also locate customers or guests and navigate them to find a certain place. For such kind of purposes, an indoor positioning system is needed. As GPS dominates most location-based services, it is almost impossible to be used in indoor areas. Thus, various wireless technologies such as RFID, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and Zigbee were then explored. On the other hand, many localization techniques were also studied. Due to the promising results, we decided to highlight fingerprinting technique. So, how it works? First, we place several receivers in a target area. Next, we place transmitter in a room for a certain period of time and record signal strength receptions from all receivers. The transmitter should be moved within the area in order to cover all necessary room. Here, each room has a unique RSS pattern. That is why it is called fingerprint. Then, the record of those fingerprints are stored as database. Typically, one room should have at least one unique pattern to be recorded. Later, we can compare the newly detected fingerprint with this database and decide to which location it matches. This technique offers reasonable accuracy without any complex propagation model or additional hardware. Here, we are using LQI, which similarly indicates the quality of transmission link between transmitter and receiver. In this study, we adopt devices by Mono Wireless working under the standard of IEEE 802.15.4, consists of a transmitter and several receivers. Compared to the most popular wireless technology in indoor positioning, namely Wi-Fi, this standard consumes much less power because it works in low rate and low power rules of wireless personal area network. The size is quite small, so it can be comfortably carried by a user. It only needs a single coin battery for a yearly basis. It is very scalable and easy to deploy. The idea here is the user wears the transmitter, which will be continuously broadcast packets of data. On the other side, a USB receiver connected to a PC receives data where the LQI value is reported. As the first step of our research, we investigated how these devices can be used for indoor positioning. Here, we directly connected each receiver to a laptop PC. Several receivers were used in a target area to receive packets from transmitter. As it was explained earlier in this technique, we need to start by collecting fingerprints as the database, which commonly called the offline phase. A user wearing the transmitter was asked to stay in a room for 3 minutes. Then, the average LQI is extracted from the received packets. The server will make a fingerprint table. This process was repeated in 15 different rooms for at least 2 times in each room. One was used for the fingerprint database, while the other was used for the detection. Then, the detection was performed by finding the closest match of the fingerprints, this step called the offline phase. In our method, we use the sum of Euclidean distance of each fingerprint vector, where the smallest distance among all identified rooms will be decided as the detected room. In this investigation, we confirmed the feasibility of the proposal, although the detection process was not actually online. Then we proceed our study by developing a system. Here, we build a system where the offline and the online phase can perform automatically using Python programming language. To replace a laptop PC, we use Raspberry Pi, which has an automated program for passing the received packet. For the device-to-device communication, we are using a cloud-based MQTT broker. MQTT is a lightweight publish transport protocol which commonly used in IoT systems. The Raspberry Pi devices and our servers are subscribed to the broker, and the packets can be easily forwarded. In the server, those fingerprint values will be parsed and the necessary LQI will be extracted. The average LQI in 1 minute period is calculated and stored as a database. After collected fingerprint values of all rooms in the target area, the online phase can be performed by applying the same Euclidean distance as the method to find the match between newly detected fingerprint and the database. Thus, by using this system, the online phase is fully implemented and can be used in real-time detection. In this paper, our contribution is performing experimental evaluations of the detection accuracy by running the indoor positioning system for a longer period. Previously, we only used 3 receivers, while here we increased the receivers to 4 in each layout. We place the transmitter at each position for more than 1 hour and evaluate the detection accuracy in each room. Next, we will present the evaluation of our system conducted at 2 different layouts of the second engineering building in Okayama University. First is the second floor. Here, there are 8 room categories where each can have 1 or more fingerprints depending its characteristic, such as number of partitions or the amount of furniture inside the room. Here, we place 4 receivers in different positions and collect fingerprints of every room. The receiver's position here were selected based on the extensive measurement on signal reception from transmitter each room. Next, we put transmitter at different locations within the layout for at least 1 hour and collect the fingerprints. In this layout, we have a total of 21 fingerprints in 8 rooms. During an hour of continuous monitoring, the result in second floor achieved 93.41 of average accuracy. However, there are 3 rooms which have lower accuracy, namely D208, 7, and 6. Why it happened? If we compare the LQI during the experiments between rooms with the lowest and the highest accuracy, we can see that in D208, the LQI fluctuated, especially in receiver 2 and 4. In the opposite, the LQI at D204 was stable all the time. Those assumptions were confirmed by the high standard deviation values of the LQI variability. D208, 7, and 6 that are used by students and faculty members are likely to have high variability of LQI, but may not have sufficient number of fingerprints. In this graph, although toilet, refresh corner, and corridor have more LQI variability, those rooms have enough sections, yet less occupied by human. Next is the second layout at the second floor of the same building. In the third floor, the layout of monitored room is different. Here, there are 7 rooms where each can have 1 or more sections. Here, we also fixed 4 receivers in different positions and collect fingerprints from each section. At the third floor, it achieved 91.83% of average accuracy. However, there are 2 rooms which have low accuracy under 90%, namely D208 and refresh corner. Again, if we compare the LQI during the experiment between 308 and 306, it is clear that LQI from 308 were severely fluctuated. On the other hand, the signal from D206 were quite stable, except in this part, where it was actually caused by an act of opening and closing the door of that room. Standard deviation of the third floor also supports the detection accuracy results. D308 and refresh corner here are shown to have high variability during the experiment and may not have sufficient number of fingerprints. At last, we would like to conclude this presentation. Here, we presented an experimental evaluation of a fingerprint-based indoor positioning system using IEEE 802.15.4 in 2 floors of a building in Okayama University. The system uses Raspberry Pi, MQTT Broker, and SQLite programmed in Python. By running the system continuously in 1 hour for each room, the system achieved 93.41% and 91.83% of average accuracy on second and third floor respectively. Several rooms with lower than 90% accuracy were affected by several factors, such as human movements, partitions, and other equipment. For the future works, we would like to continue in finding the optimal adjustment of the number of fingerprints and its values, and optimal placement and the number of receivers at the target field. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.